Julian here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make music like kids see ghosts. Before this video starts, I just want everyone to know you can get the project file and samples and MIDI and presets and all of that from this video in the description for just $5 on my Bandcamp. If you want to support me, this is a great way to do it. It really helps me out. And yeah, here's the video. So I have this loop together that I put together. You may recognize the notes a little bit. It's pretty simple, but I mostly wanted to focus on the drums with this one. When I was listening to the Kids See Ghosts album, and just like the general sort of output of good music lately, I think something they're doing really, really well is like the way that their drums sound and the way they're combining modern production elements with like the older kind of production things that all the people on good music came up with. And I think it's just really nice, so I wanted to talk about that, and the drums here really highlight that. So I'm just going to start with the drums. On their own, they all sound like this. It's pretty simple. It's not really that many layers, but it's a lot of like interesting stuff going on. So the first thing I want to talk about is using vinyl samples. So what do I mean by this? I mean samples taken from drum breaks, from records. So I have two things here that were taken from drum breaks. This hi-hat and then this snare, which is one of the two layers of the snare. So the way you do this, if you don't know what a drum break is, it's essentially, let me see, I have a pack of them. In like old songs, and I mean new songs, like it's just in music in general, it was very popular in old music, like older soul music, but there would be breaks where there would just be like just drums. Children growing women. Something like this. It's gonna take a second for the sample to load. Okay, so that's like a very popular one. There'd be like a time when just the drums were playing. And what you can do is you can sample that, but you can chop it up individual hits. So you could take like, you could take just the kick from that and just the snare from that, or just the hi-hat. So that's what I've done here with this hi-hat and the snare. And this is what I recommend you do if you're trying to get this style of drums, is sample old breaks. And then what you can also do, and I've done this here with the snare, is a lot of times if you pitch them down, that's what I'm hearing like Kanye doing a lot on the production for this, and I'm sure it's not just him producing this stuff, but like his style, I hear this a lot. It's like the pitch down sampled snares. Really, it just really has that like deep, like full kind of snare sound that I hear a lot in this music. The other component of the snare is this clap, which is just like a really simple clap. Really not too much to it, but it just sort of sits on top of that snare to give it a little bit more punch, because the snare, one thing about it that sort of goes back to what I was saying of like the old production elements versus the more modern production techniques and elements, are these kind of snares worked previously, but with like the way modern music is, it's not really quite punchy enough. So adding that clap on there just really helps to give it that extra bit of like snap over top of everything. And to accommodate for that, I've just given the snare a little bit of a low pass filter. It's like very subtle. I'll show you if I turn it off. You're barely hearing it, but it just sounded a little bit better when you have the clap layered in with the low pass filter. After that, I have a kick. And this is just a simple kick. I'll show you the original. Whoops. Okay, so this is the sample on its own. And then I low passed it. I heard this a lot on Kids See Ghosts, and again with all the good music stuff lately. They do a lot of this. They just have like these kind of thumpy low kicks that are just like, I mean, they're probably just low pass kicks, just like I've done here. But these are a really good foundation for this stuff, because like it gives it a lot of knock. It like keeps that kind of like bouncy knock in the beat. Even when you're like doing a lot of different kinds of things that wouldn't normally be in beats that have that kind of feel to them. So yeah, that kick, between the kick and the snare, those are like the two most important things I was hearing with the drums on this stuff. It's like mostly getting those two to sound right, not only together, but apart as well, like just to have that same kind of vibe. And yeah, after that, I have this percussion loop. It's very quiet in the background. I'll show you without the low pass filter. I put the low pass filter on it because this was something I heard a lot in Kids See Ghosts. They have a lot of these kind of like percussion loops where they'll be low passed and just kind of in the background, but it sounds nice when you low pass it, like that kind of like mid-Z frequency that comes through sounds really good in the whole mix of a track like this because it doesn't take up too much space, but it gives the drums just a little bit of an edge that wasn't previously there. I also have some track delay on this and on the hi-hat. But if you don't know what track delay is, it's this basically you activate it by pressing the D icon down here, and you can move. Basically, it's the same thing as just moving the contents of your track forward like that, or you can also do backwards. But the convenience of doing it with track delay is you can just easily kind of tweak it, and you don't have to like keep going in and moving it in the arrangement view and all this kind of stuff. So I did that just to give it a little bit more kind of like groove over top of the other drums. I'll show you if I turn off the track delay. I mean, they still work, but they just don't have quite that same like feel the way they were sitting over top of those of the drums before. So I put that on there. And then there's just a hi-hat. I already talked about it. It's just a hi-hat I sampled from some old break. And yeah, that's it for the drums. As far as the other layers, it's really pretty simple. The thing about this music is like the beats are amazing and the beats are very, very good, but they're not really the focus. Like this style of music is very, very, very vocal driven. And so like really like I would honestly say like 75% of the song is going on with the vocals. But I can still talk about the melodic stuff quite a bit. I have this bass, which I heard all over Kids See Ghosts. And again, this is just like a really popular sound that Kanye uses a lot. It's a really simple sound to make. It's literally just a square wave and then a low pass filter, and that's it. It's just like this deep subby bass that has a little bit more high harmonics because of the filter. Well, because of the square wave going through the filter, and then the filter not completely getting rid of those upper harmonics. I also did turn the sustain all the way down and then the decay all the way up on this because since these notes play for so long, I didn't want them to just be like long notes that just don't change or don't have any kind of like subtlety. So I gave it this little envelope just so it sort of go down in volume, but not too much where you lose the bass by the end of the note. So that's just that. And then we have the chords. I tried my best to recreate the sound on this one. What I found was basically they're just these simple triads. And then what you do is you put the root notes down an octave, and then these top notes are doing like, well, the root notes are just playing one note for each time. So that's how you get that pattern. And the synth sound is really simple. It's just a little FM sound. It's just two sine waves with the regular FM algorithm in operator, nothing special. I just have the second one up a little bit on the level, and then the chorus tune is up to 2, so it's like an octave above this other one. And I have, if you can see, the first one is just a little pluck as far as the envelope goes, and that's what you want. But the second one is like got a very, very slight sustain. The sustain is down a very slight amount. So you just get a little bit of this one sort of like going down in volume, if that makes any sense. But not too much where you just lose the sound and it just becomes a full sine wave. Because this just is a sine wave. Doesn't really sound that good. You need that kind of like higher harmonic stuff that you get from this FM. And then after that, all I did was I just put on a low pass filter because this wasn't quite mellow enough. So I just filtered out a lot of those higher harmonics. And then I just put a little reverb on here, and all I did was I turned the dry wet down and the decay time down. I just made it a really short reverb. And that's really it. Like I said, it's really about the drums and combining the older feel with the newer techniques to make a more modern kind of sound. And then like just kind of like the simple things with the melodic stuff, because again, this is such vocal driven music, and it's so like centered around the vocals and what's going on with the lyrics and the melodies and all that kind of stuff. Excuse me. That you really just need to like, the beat almost just kind of needs to be out of the way of all of that. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today, guys. Make sure to let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure to like this video and subscribe, and maybe even share the video if it really helped you out. You can once again get the samples and project file and MIDI and presets from this video in the description for just $5. I would really appreciate it if you could check that out. And thanks again, guys. I'll see you guys again tomorrow for another tutorial.